What up? Just out here getting in 5 miles. I almost bitched out. I haven't been down here in 2 weeks. And, I've been doing other things. I've been doing house renovations, painting, putting in new windows. Like I'm doing it myself. And, different improvements on the shop, fixing up my chairs, reupholstering them, hand stitching it. And, my daughter's off at college. So I've been driving my son to and from school Monday, Tuesdays, and Wednesdays. Wednesdays I drop him off and his mom grabs him. But, and business has been busier. Not like gangbusters, but it's been a lot more steady. And, I've had some really busy days. And even on the slow days, I'm doing pretty decently. But, driving my son to and from kind of cuts down on the days that I can be down there. So it is what it is. It's okay, I adjust. But, time management is still an issue. I haven't been coming down here. I've been doing other stuff. I mean, don't get me wrong. I've been getting my sweat on, I bought a chin up and dip bar set up, like one of those freestanding jammies. And, because I wanted to start hanging, like just hanging. And I've been doing that, 25, 30 seconds at a time and just kind of going back and forth with that. And I'll tell you, man, it's a pull-up bar, right? And, when I was younger, I could do 12, 16, maybe I could squeeze out 20 pull-ups, but it's probably been 25, maybe 30 years since I could do a proper pull-up. And I'm not saying I can do one now, right? I got this chin-up bar or this pull-up situation a couple weeks ago. But I tried to do a pull-up the first time and I got up like maybe a half an inch, I was like, holy moly. And, it's been 2 weeks and, I do it when I'm at the shop. So it's like 4 to 5 days a week, and, I've already gotten like, it's about 2.5, 3 inches I can get up now with no assist, not using my feet, not putting a bench there and, any of that. So, it's already been an improvement, But my mom had texted me last night. I didn't see it till this morning. A bunch of cool pictures of this like old hot rod truck with the license plates for floors and a truck bed, and so it was really nicely done. Rat rod style truck. And I texted her back this morning like, oh wow, that's cool. And she was like, have you been hiking? And I'm like, because I haven't been making videos and stuff, right? So I usually post pretty frequently, and and so I was like, nah, I haven't been in like 2 weeks, and she's like, oh, you don't want to let that go. And, I'd hate to see you creep back into, bad habits and blah, 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 blah. And I'm like, oh, no, it's just been busy doing things at the shop, renovating the house, my daughter going off to college, my son got back to school and blah, 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 blah. And then I was like, something, I'm going hiking today. And then I came out here and I was like, all right, let me bang. I told her, I was like, I'm getting at least 5 miles in. And I came down here and like when I first got down here, I ran up this first hill over here. I ran up this hill and like it was like my legs were like I was trying to walk, and I walk pretty fast, but it was like I was stumbling because I was walking too fast and like my legs just had a mind of their own. I don't usually run, I used to joke when I was over 300 pounds, like you don't get a physique like this from running. But I ran, probably, a total of like a mile. It's not a lot, right? But I ran until exhaustion. I was like, whew. And then, breathe through your nose and out through your mouth. And that's kind of hard. And then, I come up to another point and I ran, through that. And I'm feeling pretty good. Like I told my daughter, she's up in college. So it's the first time she's away from her mom's house and my house. And, she doesn't know anybody up there. She's having a little tough time here and there. She has good moments and bad moments. And it's usually when she's leaving my house or her mom's house, she gets upset. And also her car, she got into an accident. She's all right. The car was drivable, but, it's an old Toyota. They totaled it. I figured if it was $500 damage, they're going to total it. But it was more than that. And, I could still drive it. And I was like, well, maybe we keep it and let my son drive it, because he's going to start driving shortly. But, so it was a bunch of things on top of, new school, not knowing people, feeling out of place, car accident, boom, 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 but she's managing, she's getting through it, and I told her, I said, listen, when you start feeling yourself getting worked up and getting upset, I said, don't let perfection get in the way of progress, like I know I do that a lot. I'm like, well, I can't get out there for 2 hours, so I'm not going at all, or whatever it is, and I told her, I said, you gotta do the things that work for you, and I explained to her the things that work for me to get me out of my funk, what got me out of my situation, what got me out of my stress, my anxiety, and I told her, I said, these things might not work for you, you got to find your own way. I said, but you got to learn how to manage this stuff. But she's doing all right. She's doing okay. She's got a lot of time on her hands up there, it's good and bad, but I love her, and she's handling it. She's making it happen. I get it, and I was trying to relate to her, but her, anyway, her mother and I, we had very different lives than what our children have, right? What they grew up with, even though, they're products of divorce or whatever, they're in divorced families, but, they have pretty solid households on both sides. And, her mother and I, we had to deal with a lot different type of stressors and childhoods and all that. And so, I know my daughter feels like, she's like, well, you guys think that I'm, I'm some kind of wimp or a pussy and I should just toughen up. And I'm like, no, that's not it. I said, you just got to understand, from our perspective, if this is what we were dealing with, it would have been a different situation for us. But that's in our minds, I'm like, you're going through it. You're going through it. From your perspective, you're going through it, but I can only relate from the things that I can relate to, from. And, I explained to her that stuff, and, she drove off and she thought about it and wrote me back, texted me back saying, thank you for talking with me and all this stuff. And, I just told her what I felt about it. I'm proud of her. I know she's stronger than she thinks she is, because I know I was stronger. I am stronger than I ever thought I was, not the BS tough macho man shit, but like doing the next hard thing, sticking to my weight loss goals, to my business goals, to fixing up the house, to taking care of my children, my getting fit and staying fit, like I'm still exercising. I haven't been down here in a minute, and I'm telling you, the excuses pile up quick, man, quick, and I'm pretty disciplined. Comparatively speaking, I've got quite a bit of determination and discipline, but, things start getting in the way, and then you don't manage your time correctly. And again, like I was saying to my daughter, because, not everything might be the perfect situation at her school, at this. I mean, she's got it pretty good, but, it's all relative to your situation. I said, but, don't let the perfect get in the way of any kind of progress. So what if it's not exactly what you thought it was? I said, that's life. Life is never what you think it's going to be. I worry about shit. I think of this way, that way, every which way. And then I go through it, and it's none of those ways, or maybe a little bit, but it's never as bad as it seems. I told her, I said, embrace the suck, because it ain't going to last forever. Life is long. This seems like it's a long part of the journey, and it is. It's part of it, but this is a sliver compared to your future. But anyway, yeah, I'm out here doing my thing, and I just wanted to touch base with some people, say hi. I hope everything's going well. I haven't been posting, but I've been doing all my stuff. I haven't been hiking, but I'm back at it. I'm changing what I'm doing. I'm switching over to like strength training, but also hiking as well. And, it's so funny. Like back when I first started exercising and all that, and I quit drugs and alcohol, you know, it seemed like I had so much time on my hands, right? I was just sitting around all the time. Now it seems like I don't have enough time. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have enough time in the day to get everything I want done, right? But you know, I still do some procrastinating and excuse making. But you know, I'm off that shit, and here I am. I'm out here claiming my spot. You know, getting my mental clarity, getting my physical self together, and I'll talk to you when I talk to you. Peace.